Rogue, Gambit, and Wolverine thought they left their lives as X-Men behind them, but when 4 new mutant teens come out of the woodwork in desperate need of their help, this looks like a job for the Children of the Atom. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of Uncanny X-Men issue number 2 and find out together, shall we? So then, as we join the book, we're actually treated to a very unexpected flashback via the secret journal of one Charles Xavier. It would seem back during his early school days, Chuck fell in love. In the days before Moira, in the days before Lalandra even, he only had eyes for one woman. And who was this woman? Well, her name was Sarah. She's got big bouncy 80s hair and is a different type of British than Xavier is. Well, actually, she makes a crack about him being a Yank because, you know, he's from upstate New York originally and his accent always seems to be all over the damn place. She's a lot of fun. How exactly did her and the future Professor X meet? Oh, well, it was a classic Hollywood movie meet cute. She lost her frisbee in a tree and just kind of used him as a step stool to get it. And I mean, it's local tradition too. When a pretty British woman climbs all over you, you have to buy her a hot cuppa. In his internal monologue, Xavier talks about how lonely he was at the time and how much of that was self-inflicted, but Sarah did an amazing job breaking him out of his shell. In fact, she was even super cool about the whole early onset male baldness thing. She even asks him, "What color was your hair before, dear?" "Oh, blonde, absolutely blonde." "Well, it's better this way. I hate blondes." Keep Sarah in mind because she will actually end up being important later. It's after that we flash back to the present following the end of the previous issue. Wolverine, Rogue, and Gambit had been looking for a little R&R in the Louisiana swamps, only to be accosted by 4 mutants who say they were being hunted and that the only people who could help them were the X-Men. Of course, our heroes aren't exactly 100% sure if they even are the X-Men anymore. And even if they weren't, this whole thing is A, pretty suspicious, and B, they were kind of dealing with the tragic loss of a poor cancer kid in the last issue, so they're not exactly in the mood to hop up and help anyone. As these things often go, what starts as a tense standoff ends up absolutely boiling over when Gambit, who you'll recall had managed to steal the left eye of Agamotto in the previous issue, accidentally ends up shooting it off and hitting one of the kids. We later find out this guy's name is Ransom. He has a thing for coins, though we don't exactly learn what his powers are. However, what we can glean is that he's not only strong enough to take this hit, but also durable enough to jump right back up and sock Wolverine in the jaw. He even makes him bleed, which is admittedly quite a feat. If his powers are impressive, you're going to absolutely love what Calico can do. It seems that she is psychically linked to her horse, which she is able to turn into a massive fiery Pegasus. It's Rogue's job to get this girl under control, though we eventually discover through their conversation Calico is not a mutant, or at least she claims not to be. She's also got a metric boatload of mother issues, and she claims that her mother hates mutants, calling them dirty goblins. Hey, now you leave your goblin slander out of this. Haven't those fine people been through enough? What with all those early level adventurers killing them for 5 gold, I tell you? Next up on the Mutant Showcase 2, we have a young woman by the name of Jitter. She actually speaks with a speech impediment, and when she actually taps into her power, she's able to go full-on Bruce Lee kung fu expert. Even Gambit is shocked. He thought that she would be impressed with his whole kinetic card routine, but no. In fact, she says Remy better bring the whole deck if he knows what's good for him. Rounding out this very motley crew of new mutants, we also have Death Dream. He's from Kyoto, and we know this because him and Wolverine actually converse in Japanese. This kid is very morose and can actually seem to sense all of the lives that Logan has taken over his very, very long existence wandering the Earth. Now, that's all pretty bad, but believe it or not, it gets worse. Elsewhere, we check back on in with Dr. Ellis. She's the woman who's taken control of the old Xavier school and turned it into the Grey Malkin prison. One of those prisoners we actually learn is none other than Siren, the daughter of Banshee. Ellis wants to not only torture this poor girl, but also seemingly turn her to her side, somehow turning her into a trustee. Now, in the end, Rogue and her team's battle against these 4 superpowered teens is put to a stop by the coming of Jubilee. It seems that she was sent ahead to actually scope out Grey Malkin, and now she's back with actual important info, which means the kids are going to have to sit by the fire for a little bit while the adults have a conversation, and also don't drink any of their beers. The former X-Men might be in a bad spot right now, but they still need to be responsible, damn it. Now, in a nice bit of connective tissue, we actually get to see the other half of the phone conversation that Scott Summers Cyclops was having with Rogue back during the last issue of the main X-Men series. You see, Rogue and the others very much think that Xavier is not only alive, but is actually a prisoner in his former home. Scott isn't sure if they should risk their rebuilding operation to go and try and save him. And now with these kids showing up in need, basically everyone's plans have been completely and utterly upended when Rogue and the others actually take the opportunity to ask the kids what exactly they're so scared of and what they're running from. We learn that these poor kids have actually been chased all over the world by some strange entity referring to itself as the Hag, a monstrous bounty hunter targeting mutants for, you guessed it, Dr. Ellis's brand new prison. And as the comic begins to wind down, we see the Hag drop off their newest victim right at the feet of Dr. Ellis, who responds to the Hag not in codename but by her real name, which just so happens to be, you guessed it, Sarah. Wow, Professor Xavier, do you know how to pick 'em, or do you know how to pick 'em? And so that was Uncanny X-Men issue number 2, everybody, and I'm happy to say once again that Gail Simone and David Marquez have delivered one hell of a fun issue. I love the makeup of this team and how they interact with each other. I love Rogue taking center stage as the leader of this book. The 4 new mutants have creative names and powers, and I'll be very interested to learn more about them as this series goes on. I'm also really digging the whole secret journal of Charles Xavier thing they're doing here. It's a great framing device and also a very clever and effective way to have him be part of the story without actually having him be in the story. The art looks great, there's good action, some funny jokes, and even some titillation here and there. Overall, I'd feel very comfortable giving this issue an 8.5 out of 10. It looks like X-Men and From Ashes have another hit on their hands. And that in the sea of great mutant books currently on the shelf right now, Uncanny is definitely a title to watch.
Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched at the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest. That's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.